so you just probably have to listen to us mostly verbally and see what you
Sure.
can. All right, thank you.
Are we thumbs up?
Are we ready?
Yeah, I'll do the super. All right, folks, sorry about that. We had a technical glitch. We're going to, we've moved locations. We've moved off the dais onto the tables that we're presenting so that we could move to the functioning cameras and you could see the presentation. We're at the point in the agenda that I was on it was the superintendent's report, item 11, and I had done one of my 5 presentations on the superintendent's report. And I'll go ahead and continue that at this point. Just finishing up with our attendance at the Giving Plate, I would invite the board members, if you get a chance in the next 3 times we do that kind of quarterly, please avail yourselves of that. It's a very great visit. The second thing I want to draw attention to is a very important date, which is November 19th, which as we're having this meeting on the 18th, that is tomorrow. Because the economic and revenue forecast is coming out tomorrow, it is the single biggest indicator of the status of the financial state for the tax revenues that we expect to get from for the state of Oregon, which will give us kind of a purview into what the state sees as its outlook financially. And if you recall, and I want to draw attention to this, House Resolution 1, which was otherwise known as the Big Beautiful Bill, imposed a lot of tax cuts. Why that is relevant is because Oregon tax law is tethered to federal tax law. And so it's important to note that because those two are commingled, that in a period of just a couple of weeks, the state went from about $300 in the black, $300 million in the black to about $350 million in the red based upon those tax relief that was passed in that bill. And so what I am trying to draw your attention to is the fact that tomorrow's forecast will give us an idea of whether there are some pretty stormy waters financially ahead for us, or if there's a possibility that this could settle into not the financial state that we would be too worried about. When you couple that with the governor's announcement that there is every state department in the state, every department in the state is expected to present a budget that rescinds up to 5% of their currently allocated budget to the governor and for the legislature to consider when they open up in the short session. That's a really important data point that I want to draw everybody's attention to. The third item I want to talk about is the Ruby Bridges walks that happened this past week, I believe. Such a wonderful turnout for 3 of our schools. We had in South County, the number I heard was 600 folks turned out. We also had folks that turned out at Bear Creek and R.E. Jewell Elementary School. And I'm very grateful for all the folks that spent time to organize that and the people that came out and showed their support by spending time walking with our students to school in honor of Ruby Bridges. We are completed my fourth item is we completed our second virtual staff meetings today. We did that earlier this afternoon. I think about 200 people participated. Those are recorded, both meetings. We do one kind of elementary focus, one kind of secondary focused, are going to be up and posted, available and recorded for anybody to watch and make sure you check those out. And then last but not least, Excellence in Education Awards. We are eyeball deep in that. Our very first one was today. We had a very large turnout. Thank you for the board members that showed up for that today. A large turnout to honor and recognize our Administrator of the Year, Principal Chris Boyd at Caldera High School. Fantastic showing and lots of folks in support of him there. We will be announcing tomorrow our support staff of the year for this year. And on Friday, we will be announcing our Educator of the Year. Can't wait. If you can join us, please find time in your day to be a participant in that. Thank you. Yeah, please.
Directors, I have a couple of comments. One is I just want to echo a couple of pieces. The Ruby Bridges walk to school is one of the best highlights of my morning, to walk to school with a second grader who told me, like a radio, everything thing about his life. And I also learned that hummingbirds can fly upside down. So lots of learnings on that little walk. Chris Boyd is somebody who's great to celebrate, and I'm happy to do so. So that's been an exciting start to our week. And then related to the special programs or special services, or student services rather, presentation tonight, Director Lynch had asked a question that I think is important for us to recognize related to funding. And it is that many may not know that we are funded at 11% despite the number of students that qualify for services. And so what that means for us is that we are funded at a rate that leaves us about $10 million short, which then just comes out of our general fund. So I think that's a number that is impactful and important for us to just know about and keep in mind and keep bringing to the attention of our legislature. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Cook, and thank you, Dr. Burke. Any questions for Dr. Cook on the superintendent report? Director Tomlin? All right.
Are you going to director comments?
Yes, we are. Would you like to start?
Sure, why not? Well, as normal, I really appreciate all the valuable information that we got tonight. I did want to reiterate that I appreciate the feedback from the students about the standard-based grading. I just can't say how important it is to hear about the challenges that are being experienced as the system gets implemented. But I am really confident that those challenges are going to be addressed during the year. I do believe strongly that is a superior method of assessing student learning, and I'm going to be anxious to see how it progresses throughout the year until we have a full implementation next year. And then finally, I just wanted to wish Cameron and the Lapine High School forestry team good weather for Friday, because they've got a timber sports competition from 10 to 2. And I know if you go out, you can see some axe throwing and choker setting and log rolling and all sorts of things that I probably wouldn't want to do in the middle of November, but it'll be fun. So that's all I've got.
Thank you, Director Tomlin. Director Olson?
No comments.
Director Chadwick?
Sorry. As many of y'all know, November is Native American Heritage Month, and tomorrow, November 19th, is Red Shawl Day, which is a day to raise awareness of violence against missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. It's a day to honor their lives, support families, and call for an end to this crisis. We're also at the tail end of Trans Awareness Week, and Thursday is Trans Day of Remembrance, a day when we honor our transestors who came before us and those taken by heinous acts of violence. All of us queers, including myself, walking around freely, we have Black and Latina trans women to thank for that. They birthed gay liberation in the 70s, which led to every privilege that we experience today. Especially under our current federal administration, trans and queer students need our support. So I felt inclined to write a little love letter. Dear trans and gender expansive students, I don't know what it's like to be bullied in school, probably because I wasn't as brave as you. I was in denial until my junior year of college when I finally came out to my family. Thankfully, I had supportive adults in my life who just happened to be my coaches and who just happened to be queer. It's really weird, right? Anyways, that was back in 2001. And in the spring of 2016, I was 36, had a 2-year-old child, and was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And let me tell you something, there's nothing scarier than thinking you don't have control of your own body. So I spent a lot of time soul searching as I prepared and recovered from surgeries and chemotherapy. And 2 years later, right before my son was born, an opportunity to have top surgery presented itself to me. Once again, I came out. I started using they, them pronouns and identified as non-binary. While I was one step closer to becoming the person I've always known to be, after surgery, the opposite actually happened. So prior to surgery, I imagine people simply thought I was just gay, and after surgery, they didn't know what I was. Now here's the heartbreaking part. Because of other people's reactions to me, I actually tried not to speak while in public. And even today, sometimes just smiling and walking away is the best way for me to remain intact without schooling somebody. The burden of educating others is not our responsibility. That belongs to our allies. For others, my voice may not match how I present myself. And guess what? That's okay. You don't need to explain who you are to anybody. Your existence is all that matters. It took a few more years to not care about what others think of me. I know who I am. I know my true north. And this takes time. So be present and please give yourself some grace. I listened to a sermon recently where the pastor shared, other people's perception of you ain't none of your business. And I'm gonna say that one more time. Other people's perception of you ain't none of your business. You do you, and when it gets hard, remember to pause. Keep a growth mindset. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Stay open to opportunities and connection. And whatever you do, keep evolving. You got this, and we've got you. Kind regards, Keena Chadwick.
Thank you, Director Atwood. Appreciate it very much. Director Fisher.
Thank you, Keena, or Director Chadwick. I just want to say thank you, Dr. Burke, for mentioning the high incidence disability rate, the 11%. I went to Salem in the spring, trying to talk to different legislators about the importance of this funding. I guess we're at 12.8 or something like that. I mean, there are districts that are 15 beyond, and it did help me to talk to folks who were saying, look, we're deciding, we're figuring out funding for wildfire prevention, we're mental health, I mean, all these different things that our legislators are juggling and navigating this. And I still could speak to this, but it was also, it gave me a huge appreciation for the difficulty that they're in today and how to navigate what to advocate for. And but it's reality, and I think it's important that we all are aware of that and do what we can to continue to advocate. We went to OSB, the Oregon School Board Association annual conference, and that came up in some conversation, but also SB 141, and I felt like that was important for us to have a better understanding. I think we're still seeking a better understanding of that. But one thing that I think is really important is that districts have a voice in how that is executed and implemented and considered. And I really want to shout out to Dr. Cook for helping to collaborate with that and getting some boots on the ground insight to share with how that accountability measures takes place. And then also I wanted to give a expression for gratitude for Stephen Duvall and the district and the effort, as hard as it is, the effort to get more clarity and transparency and understanding about about standards-based grading that I feel for students and families on the struggle and educators. And huge shout out to administrators and educators who are stepping forward and saying, I don't get it, I'm in, I know this is where we're going, and I'm willing to learn and show up for those opportunities because it's only going to hurt our students and our families and their colleagues if they hold out and as we heard from students tonight, that they're talking poorly about it, and it's not conducive to where we're headed. And so I'm looking for whatever I can do as a school board member to help support this, and I'm grateful for folks who are tackling it, and thanks for doing those informational nights.
Director Tatum?
This working? There it, okay, there it goes. Yeah, just to build on talking about SPED funding, you know, I also think it's important to talk about the high cost disability grant and what we don't get back. At OSBA, several of us attended a session on funding where they mentioned that this is capped at $55 million statewide, but the need is closer to $130 million at the state level. And I think it's important to note that our district is only reimbursed about 27% of what we spend on high cost disability grants, meaning that we spend about $7 million out of our general funds for this, plus the $3 million that we spend due to the low SPED cap. So, you know, when we talk about our students need more, what can we do? There's $10 million of unfunded needs that we pull from our general fund to serve these students. And that's a really important thing for our community to hear, particularly when we talk about needing resources. Like, we do need resources to serve these students, and money we use to serve these students is money pulled away from our general fund. So I think that's really important to mention. I also just want to comment, I really appreciated our public comment tonight from psychologist, I believe, Dr. Bledsoe. If you're a doctor, I apologize if I'm getting your title wrong, about music education. You know, music education is one of those things I've never really thought much about until my son joined band, because he has to take band at his middle school. And it is the thing that he is most excited about. Most of the people on this dais has seen videos of him playing his tuba where he laughs hysterically saying, "I love my tuba." And he's talking about how disappointed he is that we don't have marching bands in our schools, because he really wants to be in a marching band. And evidently he's always had this secret desire to play a tuba, which now he's getting the opportunity to do in our schools. And music obviously activates different pathways in our brains, leads to creativity, emotional, social well-being. So again, one of those things, if we had all the funding in the world, we would be able to fund robust music programs. Thank you.
Thank you, directors. Appreciate it very, very much. I'm gonna keep my comments short and sweet. I want to thank Director Chadwick for the letter and about Transgender Week. Thank you very much. And just a reminder of everyone, we did pass a resolution in support of that. So if you have any information, you want to go back and read what that resolution is and what it provides in support of to our transgender youth and teachers and supports staff and our group. Thank you very much. My computer went down. All right, I want to thank everybody for that. Also, we did attend OSBA. I want to thank everyone for going. But the one key thing I think we came away from OSBA was the primary thing was this. We all collectively, as a region here in Central Oregon, need to come together and continue to have conversations on how we're going to continue to support one another in terms of funding, talking to our local legislators, from senators to state reps, so forth and so on, city municipalities, how we get together to have these conversations. Because we know it's going to be some tight wallets here in a little bit. We just want to make sure that we are ready to have the conversation together collectively. Within that, and Dr. Cook, you were generous saying it was a big, beautiful bill. I call it the big, beautiful steal, but that's just me. But in that, in those words, the director comment, I'm just gonna finish there. We're gonna have to adjourn here in a little bit because we're going to be going to executive session. At this time, we're going to be adjourning the regular meeting, and the board will meet in executive session pursuant to OR 192-662, 2B, and 2F. We're going to consider the dismissal and discipline of and hearing complaints and charges brought against a public official, employee, staff member, or individual agent who does not request an opening hearing and consider information or records that exempt by law from public inspection. Okay? So we will start this meeting over in executive session in another room. Here. Okay.
Go into the superintendent's office.
Superintendent's office? We will do the executive session in the superintendent's office, and we will return here after. Yeah, we got to come back.
Ross, can, oh,
I got to get this to fix. I'll be there in a sec. They're coming back.
Check 1, 2, check, check, check.
It's gonna stream your summary. So we're still streaming, waiting for.
I don't care. Can you record it and use it?
As long as, yeah, we can record it, but as long as you're okay with your.
That's fine.
In the middle of the executive session.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll qualify it.
Go back to two.
Greetings, everyone. For those of you still watching the live stream, we're going to record our board meeting recap while we're waiting on the board to come out of executive session. So if you're not interested, don't pay attention. Don't worry about it. The board will be coming out of its executive session shortly. And while they're in executive session, I'm going to go ahead and record the recap for tonight's meeting. And then we'll post this on the meeting page for tomorrow. So here we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Greetings. I'm Steve Cook, and I'm here to start the recap for the November 18th regular business board meeting. We got started about 5:35, little bit of a late start tonight. We had a large crowd, a lot of people in attendance today. Our very first item of note was our district recognition. Tonight, we wanted to recognize for our champion of students, Jennifer McGee, for her work in helping to support the implementation of Wayfinder at Lapine Middle School. Lapine Middle School is now one of the Wayfinder schools that are of national recognition by the Wayfinder Company for all of the social emotional learning work they're doing there. Jennifer has been a key player in that, also helping support the summer learning program in that school. And we were just really proud to recognize her. Her family came tonight to celebrate her. The second thing that we had for a celebration was Ben Lapine Foundation, at Ben Lapine Education Foundation. Jamie Goldman and Ann Westerhoff, the co-executive directors, came to celebrate all the money donated by the Ed Foundation for classroom grants. Over $71,000 worth of grants have been funded by our foundation. Such a wonderful partnership with them, and we were so glad and honored to have them here tonight to celebrate it with a really big check that they were glad to share with us. It was a great time. And then we had student representatives speaking from the Student Voice Council and the Alliance Group. We had 5 students participating tonight. I wanted to welcome Harper Warney from Bend High, Sam Brooks Bank from Caldera High School, and Paige Press from Mountain View High School. Those were our student voice council groups. And then for our Alliance group, we had Rowan Roberts from Bend High also, and Lauren Sheen from Summit High School. And the Student Voice Council talked a lot about standards-based grading and the confusion potentially that's going on with students about how they're performing as it relates to standards-based grading and standards-based instruction. It was a very poignant moment where we were talking about how we're going to work harder to make sure students understand and have a better knowledge of their performance academically. Alliance did a nice job of sharing tonight about GSAs in our district and what it's like to be a queer student in Ben Lapine schools, and including trans students, especially how hard that can be sometimes, but also a lot of support across the district from students, other students, and staff across the district that are working hard to make these students feel just as welcome and just as safe in our school environment today. And then we jumped into our public comment. We had 3 public commenters. The first one was Katie Bludgett, who is a member also of the Alliance Group and a member of our Equity Coalition. And she just wanted to give a shout out to the work of the district for the commitment to the continued work in helping our students, trans students and queer students, feel safe. The second one was Brandy Steelhammer. She's part of she has a student at Summit High School, and she also is a part of the Central Oregon Gun Control. wanted to remind us that gun safety locks are available at the Ben Lapine Schools District Office, and we want to continue to promote that to make sure people know that if they want a gun lock, now's the time. You can get it for free. All you have to do is stop by and say you want one, and we want to keep families safe in our community. Our third public comment was Jesse Bledsoe, who's a High Lakes parent, who's also a clinical, I think, psychiatrist, if not a psychologist. My apologies, Jesse, for that, if I misspoke there, who wanted to promote music education across the district. Just really excited about the music education program going on at High Lakes and wanted to ensure that the district stays committed to providing music education across the district. Consent for information, the consent agenda passed 6-0. Consent for information were several things in there of particular note. HR policies, the elementary commitments document, a letter from the mayor helping gracious for the support for low-income housing and our commitment to supporting housing in the environment, in the Ben Lapine environment for our partnership with Habitat for Humanity. There was also a letter in there that explains bond expenditures across areas in our district, quite specifically comparing South County expenditures versus Greater Bend area altogether. And then also an emergency declaration that Pilot Butte Middle School's gym is going to have to be replaced because of water damage. And so then we moved into action items. There was only one action item that was very quickly voted upon to nominate and approve Sean Gallagher for our Legislative Policy Committee for OSBA for Region 3. That passed 6-0. Then we had two reports. First, a quick report from Dr. Burke talking about the integrated plan and how the integrated plan gives us access to the grants that we use to fund like High School Success, SIA, and all the materials that we have to be accountable to so that those plans are implemented in supporting our students across the district. The second one was a presentation from our Student Services Department and Special Programs, led by Sean Reinhardt. We talked about health services, our student well-being program, alternative learning, student support groups, and special education. This was the lion's share of the night. There was a lot of really important questions asked about all the work that our Student Services Department does in support of our highest need students in some regards. And I will tell you that one of the things that was a clear takeaway is that we've got to continue to do more and that we got to continue to find ways to get more resources, whether that's from the state, whether we want to talk about other ways and where we're going to get money, but we need more staffing to help administer to those needs. And then we finished up the night with the superintendent's report and the director's comments. Just quickly, my superintendent's report included, make sure you visit the Giving Plate. They're doing wonderful things in keeping our community fed. The second one is just pay attention to state funding right now. There's a big forecast that's coming out November 19th. Pay attention to what that forecast says. It's going to say a lot about the future of funding in K-12 education in the next few months. The third thing was the Ruby Bridges event. Please, what a wonderful way for us to celebrate integration of schools. A lot of schools in South County, Jewell Elementary School and Bear Creek Elementary School doing celebratory walks to school on that day to honor that. And then last but not least, we're in the middle of Excellence in Education Awards. Today, on Tuesday the 18th, we awarded our Administrator of the Year. Very excited and proud to recognize Chris Boyd, principal of Caldera High School, as this year's Administrator of the Year. Tomorrow, on Wednesday, we will be recognizing our support staff of the year. And on Friday of this week, we will be recognizing our Educator of the Year. And we're so excited to share that with you. We are still going. I think we're going to adjourn probably about 9:30 tonight, but it was a lot of meeting, a lot to talk about, really great things. Thanks for watching in. Thanks for joining us.
All right, I'm ready. I will now call the meeting of the Ben Lapine Board of Directors back to order. The Board of Directors will meet in executive session, just met in executive session under OR 196-660, 2B and 2F, and had the opportunity to deliberate on information presented. At this time, I will entertain a motion.
I move to uphold the district's level 3 decision.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, it has been motioned by Director Tatum and second by Director Olson. We have any discussion?
No.
Hearing no request for discussion at this time, I will call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? I will thank you. The vote was unanimous. I will now issue a written decision to accordance with CBA requirements. And I will be working on that soon. All right. Our regular business meeting was scheduled for December 9th, 2025. With this being said, this meeting is